Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a video regarding insulating a metal garage or metal shop. And we're going to do all this with what I would have liked to have was 1.5 inch styrofoam, but all I could afford at the time was 1 inch styrofoam. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to create what's called a thermal barrier behind all of that. And this thermal barrier that I'm going to create is going to be held up with screws, and it's going to have spacers in the back, and the spacers in the back are going to act like a thermal air barrier, right? And then you're going to have a vapor barrier, a thermal barrier, and an insulating property. And I've already done all the roof and such like that. That was really kind of a pain, but it was just about matter of measuring it. So let's go ahead and start over here. This is the wall I've got to finish up. I'm going to try to do this all in about a 5-minute video to show you. So basically what I did was I measured from this side to that side, and I achieved the dimension of, where is it in the phone? It's in there somewhere, 67.5 inches. Okay, so I went 67.5, and then I went up straight 8 foot because I'm going to add 2 together of my 4x8 sheet. And then I came over here and I said, where's the basic highest part of the metal where I'm going to attach my magnets? One is at 13.5. The other one's at 39. The other one's at 8 inches in, excuse me. That is 72 inches. And the other one's going to be at 92.5. And of course, there's the top. And I'm going to go 8 inches in, and I'm going to try to replicate what I have right here, okay? We can get a video of that. You can see I got 3 on the bottom, 3 on the top, and 2 on the sides. Behind that's approximately about 1.5 inches of a what we'd call a thermal barrier, right? Something where the air can escape toward the outward point, hit the ridge beam up on the top, and then turn around and get out of there in some form or fashion. And we're going to see how that works out. All right. So the first thing I did was I measured everything. All right. So I'm going to do everything a little bit at a time, and then we're going to see how this all plays out. All right. Ready, folks? Hold on. Okay, folks, we're back here again. I just wanted to show you what type of tools I'm going to be using today. This one right here, get extra blades. Always get extra blades. You're going to always cut into the cement somehow or another, or you're going to abuse it in one form or fashion. You're not going to be that exact because you're not doing it very often. And then get yourself a really good blade with a cutaway type. And you remember the cutaway type, excuse me. And that's the ones that you come in here and you actually snap it. You can actually snap it off. And you can get a fresh tip at all times. And anybody not familiar with that, let me see here. I'll try to do that where I can look at it. And don't hit your foot. Don't hit your foot. Whatever you do, don't let it hit your foot, especially if you're out here in your socks. Right? Okay. All right, so with all that said and done, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at our 48 inches. And believe it or not, these guys do a great job at putting that pretty much right on 48 inches. And I know I got 69 over there, so let's go ahead and say 67.5. So 48 minus 67.5, and everybody knows that dimension, right? 11.5 inches. Make sure that I do that in my mind. Double check your math. So I got 11.5 inches to play over here. I'm just going to cut that strip right on down here. So I'm going to mark it right here like that. And I'm going to find 11.5 inches, and I'm going to come in from this side, and so I don't put any pressure on there and create any dents. And then the wife's going to come in with some vinyl tape, and she's going to turn around and get rid of these barcodes that are sitting over there. Why they put those on, I don't know. So we got 2 types of tape, folks. Let's go ahead and take a look at the tape. So this is a white vinyl tape. There's some better tapes out there, but this one's halfway decent for the price. It's called 3M Tough, and if you look at the size, let's see if the size is on there. It should be somewhere. There it is right there. Yes. So it's a 1.88 inches, yep, by 45 yards. So you get quite a bit of thing, but it's a vinyl, so it creates a really decent looking strip when you put it up there. They do make a better tape. Again, I went too cheap with it and such like that. Then you want to get yourself some of this Tyvek tape. Any Tyvek tape with a braid in it. This is a good braid right here. It's clear, but boy, it's got some punch to it, and it holds on pretty good. This way, when you tape the front with the beautiful looking tape, you can tape the back side, which looks mostly like this right here. That's what the back side looks like. All right, And then you look at the back side, and that's your radiant barrier. Then you got your thermal barrier, and like I said, your insulating properties. I may mention that I used a 1 inch. Looks like I was too cheap, and I bought the 3/4 inch. Yeah. I cheapened myself out, so I feel kind of bad about that. But you can look at the polyboard R value, and I got to tell you, it makes a huge difference, especially the thermal barrier that's created on this. The difference in heat, I wish I had a heat thermal gun with me, but you can feel the difference when the hot sun hits this versus when the hot sun hits this right here. There's a huge difference, and I assume with my 25,000 watt BTU air conditioner, even when it was halfway insulated, worked like a champ in here. And it was just that little, it's 220 volts now, folks, so we're gonna have to put 220 in here, and eventually that's our next project, and we'll get into that next series. So what I'm gonna do right now, cut the 11.5 inches, tape both sides, and I'll show you a little few tricks on that. I'm going to use these long parallels. I'm going to call it a parallel, straight edges, and they got a magnet backing on it, so I'm going to use that, and I'm going to use the other one over here, and I'm going to draw that nice line in there so that when I take my blade, I just follow the line down there, and it looks really sharp, and then you sand it off with a sanding block. All right, let's find that sanding block. It's in here somewhere. You'll notice there's some cheap tools, but there's some decent ones here too. I had a sanding block in here one time. Well, that's not important, is it? Well, you know, we'll just go ahead and cheapen up and use that little piece of paper. Or I might have the wife find the sanding block that's probably sitting right in front of me. And you probably already see it, because I don't. Doesn't matter. All right, so after we're all said and done, we're all done here, we're gonna take this tube right here. So I'm going to take the tube here. Sorry if this is a bad video, and if it is, I'll redo it with another piece. We're going to take that tube and we're going to cut off little sections of it. Let me show you how that works. And we're going to take these little sections already made. I call it for the wall. And I'm going to take these screws right here like this. Let's see if we can put one together real quick here. Yeah, kind of tough to do it with one hand, but hey. All right, I'll tell you what, once you be right back and I'll fast forward. Hold on. Okay, folks, right back at you now. I want you to take a look at this real close here. These are M4.7 by 50, okay? That's all in millimeters. And you'll notice, I believe that's the Amazon code, and that's the screw itself, right? And then, of course, now I want you to get these washers, all right? These number 10 by 1 inch fender washers, right? Make sure they're stainless steel, okay? Very important. bcpfasteners.com, but you can get them all out there. Then you're gonna get these little dudes right here. They come in, all right? They come in like this, and they're designed for hooks. You know what I'm saying? You put a hook on them and all like that, but they actually come apart, and they come separate, so they don't have them all screwed together, so easier. And one's a neodymium magnet, which is this guy right here, but if you'll notice inside there's a thread, right? So you see the thread, okay? All right, so that's actually an M4.7 by 50, or M4 by 7, and by 50, and that's the type of screw length, obviously, but that thread is an M4, all right? Without going into much detail on metric and all the English standard stuff. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna show you what it looks like. Let's take a look up here. I'm gonna show you what it looks like here when it's finished, okay? So that's what it's going to look like when it's finished, just like that, all right? There's going to be a washer in the front. See that? See how nice that is? And then you'll see it on everything that I've done so far. Everyone has it. I put 4 in each corner like that, and then on the long ones, I put in a total of 8. And on the roof, I put in 10, because that's going to carry the most weight. You can see what I did there. That was the first one right there, and it's a little off. I might end up just taping that seam. I don't know yet, but I'll show you what I'm going to do there later. But you can see how this can all be cut, and if you can see in the video where the tape line is, yep. So you can see how I did that. Now, mathematically speaking, you got to cut. All right, you got to cut this area and this, you don't want to make that one long piece, otherwise you'll end up going through a lot of this foam. And this foam cost me, I think it was close to $800 for all the foam that's in here. Not a bad deal. I spent another, I think these are like, forgive me if I'm wrong, and sorry about the Bidenomics of it all, but, oh, by the way, I hope everybody's a Christian and believes in Jesus Christ. I might make mention of him quite often. He helps me with my character as well as my craftsmanship. And hopefully we can make him worthy of his name. All right. So these magnets right here, you got to buy off Amazon too. I can't recall, but you can see just by the size, okay, for the most part, what size they are. They're neodymium hooks, and they come separate, and you'll see them, and they'll all be shaped like that, and you'll see them on the website like that. Be sure that when you get them, obviously get them first before you buy the screws, because I already kind of messed up, and I had another set, and they were the wrong size, so don't try to do it all at once. Get the screws in first, and then go down to Home Depot and check to make sure those are M4s, all right? And don't buy anything from Home Depot. It's all better off on Amazon.com. All right, so let's go back to what we're doing here, folks. Here we go. So we really like what we have here, right? We see this pretty nice. Everything looks good, right? And let's see here. I think you're going to have to understand how that tube is in there. All right, the tube is just cut. It's just so that it doesn't bottom out, because that screw will bottom out, right? So you don't want to bottom out the screw. And you can see there from a side view what it's going to look like. And there's going to be your thermal barrier right there. So when it sits up against the wall, as such, well, let's just do it like that. Bing, bang, boom. Well, let's just do it for real, huh? Hey, what the heck? So we can see it from here. Hold on, folks. Hold on. This is my house out here in Polk City, Florida. All right. So you can see here, you can see how it's going to sit against the wall, right? Like that. And it's going to hold on pretty good all by itself. Really doesn't need 4 or 8. The only reason I put them in was just because I like that look that happens with it, and kind of gave it a decent look. So there's the heat that's going to come through here, and it's going to go out through the ridge beam, hopefully. Although metal shops don't have ridge beams, so they have side vents. Let's take a look at how these are constructed so you understand. So, and up here, if that's showing well on the video, because it's not showing here, it's going to kind of go out, the heat's going to go out that direction, okay? So we're hoping that the wind will catch underneath that eave and blow it over the top and pull the hot air out. And so far, from what I already experienced in the summer times, 2 of them so far, I had noticed that that is actually workable. So quite a big difference. And like I said, this Hyman, which is one of the Hyena or Hisense, I wanted to get a better brand, but again, too cheap to do so at the time. Would have done it differently now, but that's beyond the point. This thing works like a champ. And I currently was running it off of my cat generator, and this is a 6500 with an 8500 watt surge. All right, let's go ahead and start the cuts, and I think this will pretty much explain everything. I don't think we have to go any further. If there's any questions, put them in the comment section below, and like and subscribe to my channel. Not that I'm going to make any money out of it, but also believe in Jesus Christ as your personal Savior. Believe in Him, and you'll have everlasting life, friends. Be right back. Okay, we're back here a little bit real quick, and let's go ahead and discuss what I just did. By the way, you forgot to tell me about checking my math. It wasn't 11 and a half, it was 19 and a half, okay? That's why we do our math twice, all right? Yeah, sorry that I worked there. Maybe made them look bad. Anyway, so at 19.5, and then whatever you cut extra, it'll come out and it'll tighten up against the seams because you want it pretty doggone close, right? So there we go right there, folks. And now I'm going to start the cut. I'm going to take my brand new blade, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it. I'm going to cut it right here like this. Let me see if I can get it started. Okay, I'm going to cut it backwards. I'm going to do a back cut on it first, okay? And then I'm going to turn around. Let me see if I can do this with my hand. One hand, that's not good. Always use 2 hands, folks, okay? Always use 2 hands. All right, let's back cut it. Okay, right through the center. Very good. And then just kind of take your time on this. Don't rush it. Don't rush this part, because honestly speaking, you don't want to go through it, and you want to make that part usable over there. So just, take your time, relax on it, and don't put your handprints in it. You'll notice that there's some dents right there. These will dent real easy, and they'll look silly on the thing, but that's going to get covered with the tape. So we're not going to get too crazy with that thinking, and it'll be against that backside wall, and nobody will see it, and it'll look good. So we back covered, and now I'm going to come in from the other side, and I'm just going to slowly go. Now I used to use the crack inside this the pad here as my guide. Now that's an option that you can use, and then you can go all the way through with your blade at one shot. But I decided to just go ahead and destroy a tip here and there, and then just snap it off and get a fresh tip each time. You'll have to be going through a few of these. All right, and we'll be right back. Now, folks, I just want to let you know something here. When I was cutting this, I cut it on the ground, and I just barely went through. I mean, I just kind of sawed it back and forth, and I've cut a whole bunch of these, and it's hard to get them right. You got to be real careful now, because on the back side, you could rip that foil, and there goes your radiant barrier, right? Excuse me, the radiant barrier is the space. The thermal barrier is this. Jeez, you'd think I know that by now. But nonetheless, so folks, that's about it. So now I'm going to put it up here. I'm going to put the phone down, and I'm just going to walk down that line, see, and walk it all the way down there, and that piece is going to cut off nice and square, and according to what I've done in the past. So hold on. Okay, folks, so that's what it looks like now that it's cut off. And you're going to want to blow off all your sides and ends. Now, I want you to notice something. That was out of a 4x8 over there, right? And this is part of that 19.5, right? So that side over there, that side right there, is going to be the uncut side. I'm going to take it, because I didn't have to get too crazy with it. I've got a good side over there. So if I have to use up another piece, which I will, I'll end up only with a strip right here, and the ugly side will be on that side. So I'm going to take a nice piece of tape and just run it across there. And so when it goes up against the wall, it's nice and clean. I don't do that on all of them unless I have an issue with the cut. So you're gonna tape the ones that are good, which is the machine manufacturing side, to the manufacturing side. And then you're gonna make that all square and such, and let's get to it. So the first side we're gonna do is gonna be the front side, right where with the white up, right? White up. And make sure everything's clean. Make sure you keep your hands clean too, because dirt will get on them and it'll look like junk by no time. And you'll notice that so far, little bugs are getting in here. So I'm gonna see how cleaning them, they come with a little sheet on the backside, kind of like a film. And that film that's covering that should wipe off pretty decently if I do it all right with a little bit of care. This has been in here for approximately about a year. I haven't got around to doing my stuff. And I'll be honest with you, it looks pretty decent so far. So I haven't trimmed it all up or taped it all up. I plan on going through all these rails. I notice on the outside, when this is all done, during the dew of the morning, that you'll see dew hanging on the outside of the shop instead of the inside of the shop. Now, you want me to explain high and low pressure and how that all works? Well, I'm not going to. This is not part of this video. And quite frankly, I don't know. But somehow or another, the water condensation ends up on the outside of the shop. Whereas if you can actually see the difference, because these rails are not insulated yet. And those rails actually show dry on the exterior. So the low pressure, high pressure, dew point, whatever you want to call it, that particular is dry, so you actually see those beams from outside. So we know it's doing something. And obviously, with what I've used here in the past, and putting that outside and just shutting the door and blocking it off, I've noticed an extreme amount of difference, and it cools this place off. It's not 72 and chilly, but it'll definitely stay around about 78, which is halfway decent. And I haven't had it fully insulated, and I haven't got rid of all the cracks in it. So I'm going to assume I should be able to get this down about 78 without having to run that AC constantly against the hot Florida sun. And we all know the hot Florida sun. So we still got more to do, and we're going to eventually going to make removable pads on both doors. All right. Eventually, we're going to be putting a CNC here. It's going to be a CNC router, a 3D router, and that's the plan. get rid of all this stuff because it's become a storage area for my wife. Probably have to make her another shop. And anyways, but we're going to put a CNC router in here, a big 48 by 4 by 8 sheet plywood. That'll give me a 6-inch travel and let me do some wood art in here just for fun. We're going to do 3D scanning, 3D sculpting of that wood, and try to do it with some Honduran mahogany that I have sitting in the garage from an old project I did a long time ago. So we'll discuss that later. All right, let's go ahead and get this taped up. I'll show you how I tape it up. I'll show you a little trick on that because you actually got to kind of put it up against, say, something square, but I have all my gas cans because of Armageddon, which never happened, by the way, but still have them. Always forget, hey, if you're going to store gasoline in a metal shed, make sure you put it on the cool side. Make sure you turn around and date them, and make sure you put that Stay Pure in there as well. Do it exactly to the directions, because if you want to hold on to this stuff for like 3 to 6 months without it going bad, that's the best way to store gas. All right, but be real careful. Make sure the sun don't hit it because those things will expand. And when the wife goes in there and put it in her lawnmower, which I bought for her, it's a real nice one. It's a John Deere D140. Bought it for myself first of all, and then decided that she liked driving it. Actually, she doesn't. She figures I won't do it, so she knows she has to. Sad, but always keep that oiled up. Make sure your oil and your oil filters are up on all your stuff. You know, maintain good maintenance. I'll tell you right now, what a difference. And you ever have problems starting something? You know what you do? You know what it is 90% of the time? It's going to be your carburetor, right? Bad gas in your carburetor, because that ethanol eats away that diaphragm and starts clogging it up. We just had to put a new carburetor on that tiller over there. But that's not what this video is about, is it? All right, let's get back to busyness. All right, I'll be right back. You guys all hang out for a little bit and watch how it goes. Okay, folks, just a real quick reminder here about Jesus Christ and continue on the process. So always keep that in mind. You know, it says in the Bible, it says, pray without ceasing. What does that mean? It means just keep God in your heart. Just keep God in everything you do. You know, just think about it. Sometimes you'll get lewd. Sometimes you'll do the wrong thing. Sometimes you'll sin, but just ask for forgiveness, man. Don't think that it's a free pass either. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a little thing in the Bible that says, go away from me, for I did not know you. That's right. And you start talking the talk and don't walk the walk. Well, friends, you got yourself a problem. All right, I'm not going to be preaching here too much, but, you know, it should be what the next video is about. Follow me or subscribe to this channel. All right, so I'm waiting for my lovely wife to come in from the garden, and she's going to hold this while I tape it, and she's going to be on one side, and she's going to just pull on the whole tape, and I'm going to just go ahead and burnish it into the system and just go ahead and move that whole thing together. All right, enough talking. We'll wait for her. See you in a minute. Or, hey, you'll see me in 2 seconds. Okay, the wife's still out in the garden here. So we're taking a little time. So this is definitely the thermal barrier here, okay? That's the thermal barrier, and that's the radiant barrier. It's going to be pushing the heat outward that direction, and then it's going to follow the vent line straight up to the rafters and out the eaves. And that's the theory, of course. So, hey, by the way, too, when you get ready to put these in, you know, and you cut this size right here, be sure that you have it a little tight, just enough to where it indents in here on this side. Have the wife hold it with a screwdriver or Phillips. And while we're talking Phillips, have you ever noticed when you're looking for a Phillips, you find lots of straights? Lots of straights, you find lots of Phillips, right? Is it just me? Comment in the section below. Thank you very much. All right, the missus is coming in right now, and that's the kind of woman to have right there. A beautiful woman and one that does yard work. All right, we love you. See you in a minute. Hold on in a second.